I'd also like to talk a little bit about the history of these boat bottoms and how the technology evolved. The English really took the lead in it after just before and after the Spanish Armada was defeated in 1588, and a guy named John Hawkins was the older cousin of Francis Drake. Was managing the treasury for the British Navy, and he was also a boat designer and redesigned their boats just before the Spanish Armada was defeated, and got rid of the forecastle and made their boats longer, leaner, with a little less freeboard on them, so they could turn and maneuver better. And ever since then, the British have been in the forefront of marine technology, especially after the development of the Bank of England, which started the concept of borrowing and investing in their marine projects. And that's why we started getting things like keel hauling. They used to, we've heard famous about keel hauling sailors, but their idea is primarily running ropes under your boat to knock off the barnacles and the other growths and algae, etc., that were slowing these old wooden boats down. Then they started looking at copper. It was interesting that copper was, in the Bronze Age, warriors would sharpen their bronze swords into their wounds because the copper dust would disinfect them and keep them from getting infections. The other thing is they were using copper pots for the water because they found that it would kill bacteria and other things and keep their potted water better. So copper had long been a historical means of fighting bacteria, even though they didn't know exactly how it worked or what they were fighting. But as a result, the British did some experimenting. They discovered that copper would repel a lot of the organisms they were fighting. And so during the Napoleonic era, they mandated that all their ships of war would have copper sheathing put on. Now you can imagine how expensive that was, because you know, copper is expensive today, but putting full sheets over all these ships, and they had hundreds of ships, was quite expensive. But it paid off because their ships weren't being sunk and they were winning their wars. A famous French admiral in the Caribbean one time mentioned that his quote was, the British ships were, the French ships were moving like tortoises, and the English ships were bounding about like stags. And that's because they had these copper bottoms which are keeping the barnacles off and making less algae, etc. And they were able to go much faster, accelerate faster, slow down easier. They were able to turn better, and it paid off.